Hi, I'm Joanne Lord, Director of Mediation Institute. This video gives you an idea of how we deliver the Graduate Diploma of Family Dispute Resolution. Mediation Institute is a specialist trainer for dispute resolution training throughout Australia, and we do this course in partnership with the RTO, Registered Training Organisation, Inspiritive. This presentation covers a bit of an overview of the course, a little bit of how we do our learning, assessment and the work placement, and where to go to get help. The Graduate Diploma of Family Dispute Resolution is made up of 10 units. There are 6 core units, which we've highlighted in the dark blues. Now, Mediation Institute has also some additional bonus courses that are included in our training. If you've got direct entry into the graduate diploma, then our course will more than meet the requirements to be eligible for national accreditation as a mediator. Once you've met the requirements, you're able to be assessed and then apply for membership and accreditation as a nationally accredited mediator. You'd be able to do this once you've met the requirements in advance of applying for accreditation as a family dispute resolution practitioner, or you might want to wait and do both together. The other certificate that you get would be video meeting facilitation. So we have a standalone course to train people how to facilitate video meetings because it is a separate skill set, and sometimes people are a little bit frightened of the technology. So it's an opportunity for people to have a practice and a play in a sandbox where they can safely make mistakes and not in front of a client that they're trying to work with. You've got the option of jumping in and doing that course if you do feel that you could strengthen your skills, and you'll be having heaps and heaps of practice during your training with us in family dispute resolution. The other one, the other certificate that we issue is the Property Family Dispute Resolution Certificate. Now, this is a non-accredited certificate. The qualification implies that we should be training people in property, and we definitely do it. Not all of the providers out there are doing that. Some are providing a very cursory approach to it. So we issue this certificate so that future employers will be aware that you have actually been properly trained in property family dispute resolution. So those are the core units and the extra certificates and training that we provide. The electives, there's 4 electives. Now, we've got a set course with 4 electives. If you have experience in a relevant area, then it's possible to apply for recognition of prior learning. So we can do a recognition of prior learning assessment for the electives. For possibly a couple of the core units, it would be very, very unusual for you to get recognition of prior learning for the core for the family dispute resolution core units, because you can't legally be doing the work without being accredited. So yeah, you've been breaking the rules if you're saying that you're doing that, and so you clearly wouldn't have known all of the requirements to have been doing that. Anyway, so the electives that we've chosen are to lead your own professional development. This is important. It is a requirement as a family dispute resolution practitioner that you meet professional development requirements. The others are assist clients to develop parenting arrangements, which goes in a little bit deeper into parenting plans than the base role plays. Make safety plans with people who've been subjected to domestic and family violence. So this elective we're using to make sure that practitioners are not only screening for risk and family violence in terms of is family dispute resolution suitable, but also working with clients where you have identified risks to make sure that they have whatever precautions that they can make in place. So it's not good enough for us to know that there's family violence and then send somebody off with a Section 60I certificate. And the final one is work with users of violence to effect change. So this is looking at working with people who have used violence, to help to put in place parenting arrangements and plans that support non-violent behaviour and communication. With this, we have also another course that you're able to complete, which we really pretty much require you to complete, and that's called the New Ways for Families course. So that will allow you to develop some skills as a New Ways for Families coach. And that's particularly helpful with that work with users of violence to affect change. So it's about a 12-hour additional course that is very related to these electives and going deeper into developing your skills of working with users of violence and victims of violence. So that's the overview. 6 core units, 4 electives. We've got a set elective course, but if you believe that you have other units that you should be entitled to credits for, then we can review that, and there's a lower cost for the course if you are granted recognition of prior learning. So the learning and assessment activities. So in the course, there's a assignments link which shows all of the formative and evaluative assessment activities. So basically, there are some tasks that are learning tasks. This is our course is delivered through online learning. So there's learning tasks. Some of them are activities that you need to go and proactively do, such as visiting your local family violence court, visiting your local family court, and observing. If for some reason you're not able to do that, there are some alternative ways that you can get that, that understanding. But the best way is for you to go and observe in that environment, observe the clients and what's going on, so that you do understand the context that this work is done in. If we can help people to avoid having to go to court and avoid the issues and problems escalating into violence, then that's we've achieved our role. In the course also, you'll click on the marks links, which shows you all of the tasks that you've submitted, shows you if they're assessed, and the mark. Because this is vocational training, we're only able to give you a competent or not yet competent, or satisfactory, not yet satisfactory. So there aren't distinctions and high distinctions and things like that. It's either you know this, you've demonstrated that you understand, or not yet, and we'll give you feedback and you need to resubmit. Okay. So there's a range of different tasks. I've got a more detailed slide about that. These are the modules in our Family Dispute Resolution cluster. So this is the core units. There's 12 modules in the course, or that course, which makes up those 6 units. So it's quite a big course. You'd probably be thinking of maybe 9 months to complete part-time. And it does include your work placement. So you can freeze the video to read all of them if you want. I'm not going to read through them all. So the learning journey for the core units, you start out with your reading and exercises. There's learning activities, there's discussions. So with the discussions, they're written discussions. So you're able to read the contributions from the other students, make your own contributions on several different perspectives or aspects of the course that we want to make sure that you've been able to synthesize what you've learned and make sense of it, I guess. There's webinars, there's some quiz type questions that are just getting basic knowledge, and then there's projects and assessments which are more nuanced to make sure that you've taken it all in. And there's a number of role plays where you need to be the role player. So as the client, with the core units, there's actually a minimum of 7. So there's quite a number of hours of live role plays that you need to be prepared for in the course. So we've got So 7 there. Generally, they take about 2 hours. So you can do the math to see how many hours of live role plays you'll be doing as a minimum. But it is competency based. So if you need more to do your learning, then that's fine. And you can do as many more as a role player as you need to. So in the skills development in the core, we're looking at pre-mediation, parenting mediation and property. And we're using various various scenarios. So we start out with a pretty basic, low conflict, low complexity scenarios so that you can get the basic process, and then overlay that with some more complexity so that you're more equipped for the real work. So skills development role plays as the mediator, and then assessment role plays as the mediator, and then you've got your work placement. So the course requires a minimum of 50 hours of work placement with a minimum of 5 clients. We require that this is done. We know that some of our competitors are taking a different view of what the requirements are. We believe that 50 hours is an absolute minimum for you to achieve a level of competency. Now, there are a number of different scenarios that would be ideal that you have in the workplace. It's possible that you won't have all of those scenarios in your 50 hours, and there's no doubt you'll have more than 5 clients, because some will be just intakes and some will, so it's not likely that you'll probably be interacting, working with at least 10, 15 or maybe more clients during your placement. If you haven't had clients of all the different contexts, that's fine. That can be supplemented by scenarios, but not replaced. You can't replace client work with actors or other situations. So with the work placement, we encourage you, if possible, to organise it locally. If that's not possible, we have set up a not-for-profit where we're able to provide you with work placement, and there is an additional fee, so an extra $2,200 at the moment, at the time that I'm making this video, which is in March 2020. It doesn't really cover our costs. It's possible we'll put it up, but we're wanting to make sure that our students are able to meet the requirements of the qualification fully. So we would not sell a course that doesn't that requires a work placement and then not provide you with that a way to do that. So with the electives, if you are going on to do the electives, and we've got a guide that explains that choice, because you can accredit as a family dispute resolution practitioner just with the core units. The problem is, unless you've got one of the specified undergraduate degrees, then you must have and maintain national accreditation as a mediator. Otherwise, your accreditation as a family dispute resolution practitioner will lapse. So we generally recommend, if you don't have one of the specified undergraduate degrees, that you do the full graduate diploma qualification. So these are the modules in the elective cluster. Because people would only be doing the electives if they've done the core unit, we've mapped back a lot of the base knowledge to the core unit. So the electives are, it is a quicker course to complete. It's just taking your skills and knowledge up to the next level on the base. And we try to encourage people to start their work placement once you've been assessed as competent in the core units up to the required standard, and keep working on this as you're going through your work placement. That way you're really getting contextualised knowledge that goes in with the complexity of the type of clients that you will find in the real world. So that's what we recommend, but it's up to you. And once again, the learning journey is very similar. So reading and discussions, there's some projects and assignments, but only about half the number that are in the main course. But you do have the New Ways for Families coach training course, which is an extra 12-hour course. It's well worth doing. We're delivering that in a partnership with the High Conflict Institute in the United States, and it's very good quality information and very practical skills that work. So once again, skills development, we're drawing back on a lot of the base training in the core units, but we do do some additional skills development in the safety planning, and hopefully you're doing the higher conflict scenarios in the core units at the time that you're doing this electives. So they kind of give you the extra knowledge to help assist with that. Once again, assessment, role plays, pre-mediation coaching, and which is the working with users of violence, particularly that unit. And we're mapping back to your work placement for some of the evidence. So with the role plays, we really are very flexible about when you do your role plays. However, the problem with that is that we really need you to communicate with us of when you're available. What we would encourage and recommend is if there's a regular day and time that you can do role plays. So for example, you might work 4 days a week. So if you've got Mondays that you could do the role plays in most weeks, then what would be best is if you set a regular schedule of role plays where you work, as a role player and then as a mediator with other students that are available at the same time. So that would be the ideal. That way, one, you develop a friendship and studying relationship with the other students who are going through and catching up at least weekly. And it also means that it keeps your attention on the course. Our course is self-paced, so it's fully self-paced, which means you set the pace. There aren't deadlines, due dates, things like that, which means that you have to organise and be motivated. So having a regular schedule of coming into role plays is a great way to do that. The first thing is to participate as a role player or as an observer. We encourage you to do that as soon as you possibly can once you join the course, because it really helps you to feel what it's like for a client and whether the mediator's just about ready or are being assessed as competent and giving you a great example, or they're just starting out and they, maybe they do some things that make you feel like they're taking sides. All of that is great learning. And something, if you can participate in, if you could participate in one a week and do, 50 role plays, tons and tons as a role player, that would be, that would be great from a learning perspective. It's also really good to come along as an observer. Because what you can do there is you can use the assessment tool to help you to see and review the expectations, and it really does help you to observe some of these micro skills that we need to develop as dispute resolution professionals. And of course, participating as a mediator. So generally, each of the role play sets, the first practice is a mentored practice. So it's just for learning, interrupt, break, say, oh, I don't know what to do, whatever. That's fine. It's not intended to be assessment. The next ones we start assessing. Now, it's unlikely that you're going to be fully competent the first or second role play that you do. Depending on your background, you may very well be, but our expectation is that you'd probably need 2 or maybe 3 assessment role plays before you're assessed as competent. That's normal. That's not that you're doing bad or failing. It's just, these are skills. And particularly if you're an experienced lawyer or psychologist, the role of being an independent neutral who's not giving advice is something it's a different role, and so sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to step into that role. So as many times as you need to do to be competent within reason. So you know, if you were not taking the feedback and we're seeing the same role play over and over again, we're seeing the same feedback, then, you know, we're going to need to take you aside and maybe do some intensive coaching and try and understand what's the block to learning these new skills. So it's not generally been a problem. It's unlikely it's going to be a problem with you, but yeah, that's our understanding. Where, you know, we won't keep running role plays for you as the mediator forever, because clearly that would mean you know, it's costing us more to run your course than it is to than you've paid us. Generally, you do a practice and then usually 2, maybe 3, to fully demonstrate competence across all of the requirements for each of the role plays. So there are a couple of bonus courses that come with the core units, which is the national accreditation as a mediator, if you didn't require it to get into the course. So if you've come in the pathway where you need national accreditation, you need to do that course first, apply for accreditation, become accredited, and then you're able to enrol in the graduate diploma. If, though, you get direct entry, you might have a law or social work psychology degree, or are experienced qualified, that you've been working in the industry, perhaps as a intake officer or someone like that, you might be eligible for direct entry. If that's the case, then, and you're not yet nationally accredited as a mediator, then you can we can provide the necessary training as part of this course. You also, as I said before, be able to participate in the video meeting facilitation course, and you will be certified in property FDR to indicate to future employers that you are properly trained in property. And the New Ways for Families coach training if you are doing the full qualification. We haven't included that for the core units only people, because generally they're, you know, trying to get through as quickly as possible, and this is an extra 15 hours, where we find that the people doing the full qualification tend to be more focused on the full you know, learning opportunity. Not to say that we don't love our core units students, but it's generally you're looking to do the core work and wouldn't be looking at coaching as part of your practice. We're always available to provide support. We take an individualised support. We don't run the course through in classes. We run it as individuals. We encourage you to come to the tutorials and participate. And there's also a professional development calendar. I'll put that link in below the video just so that you've got, it's clickable. And that we've done a 2020 professional development calendar, which shows the various professional development activities that we have going on. So, okay, well, there's a very fairly detailed overview of the course. If you're already on the course, this is just to give you a little bit of context. If you're looking at the course and wanting to compare Mediation Institute with other providers, we do have a comparison tool that we can send if you'd like, and we do have the full course outline which goes through in more detail. So we're very happy to share as much information as you need to make an informed decision about your training. So thank you for your attention and getting all the way to the end of this, and goodbye for now.